Yeah, over the past couple of years, we've had a lot of requests and needs expressed about different types of forms. Currently, we have a block for engaging networks forms. People are using the happy point for embedding forms. There's like a lot of piecemeal ways that people are dropping forms onto their site. And as we were looking forward and knew that we were going to need a way to have HubSpot forms on sites and control shift forms and a bunch of other things, quizzes, etc. We took a step back and we're like, how do we build something that is more agnostic and flexible of, all these different types of forms and can be a solution for not just these needs that have been expressed in the short term, but also kind of more long term. So we knew we wanted something with different types of fields, different layouts, having forms on a page that's like a petition page where that's the main point of the form, as opposed to having a form as part of the flow of a blog post. We knew we wanted, lots of different ways to show forms on pages. We knew we wanted something that we could provide a framework for, but NROs could build on top of. So, it could be extensible for functionality that you need, data integrations that you need on top of that, etc. And yeah, of course, something where you can make sure that your forms are connected to whatever systems your NRO is using. So those were kind of like the main things that led us to the decision to build something more generic as a form builder. And then we evaluated a lot of options. We looked at if we wanted to build this totally from scratch. We wanted to use something that was a third-party service like Typeform. And we also looked at a bunch of different WordPress plugins as well. And Gravity Forms was the winner across all of that for a number of different reasons, including the fact that it's a well-supported WordPress plugin with a large contributor community. There's actually a company called Rocket Genius that provides Gravity Forms. So as long as they're still in business, they will still be providing support, maintenance, security, all of that for this plugin. Gravity Forms has already been used by many of you for your sites. And so that was also a factor in our decision. They have great documentation, both for users and for developers building on top of Gravity Forms. It met a overwhelming majority of our requirements out of the box, which I'll talk about in a second. And lastly, for doing development work, both for the core team and for NROs, it has a REST API. You can also use webhooks for building additional functionality on top of it. So it was it's a pretty clear choice. So this is just a handful of the core features of Gravity Forms that it comes with out of the box. We didn't have to do anything for you all to be able to use all of these features. So the interface of Gravity Forms is very straightforward. We'll do some like demos in a second and be able to like show you for those of you that haven't started poking around with it yet. It's very like drag and drop and user friendly. The forms that are created with it are accessible. They're responsive out of the box. We've done a little bit of work to basically design the form fields to match the P4's design system, but a lot of that already looks good just as soon as you install it. There's a lot of different types of fields, as well as field validation for things like email addresses, phone numbers, etc., spam protection, GDPR compliance, all this kind of good stuff. And this presentation, just so you know, is linked to in the agenda, and there's links in here to full list of Gravity Forms features and their documentation, as well as their roadmap. So you can check that out. So Gravity Forms is a paid plugin that we are paying for out of the P4 budget. So that's not being like recharged or anything like that. So we are paying for the full, I think they call it the elite plan or something. And in addition to the core features that it comes with, they also provide their own add-ons. So I can just show you. They have like a whole directory of add-ons. And so they have their own official add-ons that the Gravity Forms team maintains, as well as the community can submit add-ons. So if we build something, we could submit it to here, similar to the WordPress like plugins directory. And they have tons and tons, I mean, at least 10 pages of add-ons for all different types of functionality. So the ones that we have currently made available, one is Hubspot, as we'll talk about in a second, obviously to send data from forms to HubSpot. Another one is the quizzes add-on, which adds some additional features for building quizzes, which we will also see a demo of in a minute. And the last one is Webhooks, and that's some additional functionality to trigger to send data to other systems based on some like triggers that you set up. If you see other add-ons in their directory that you want to see us roll out with P4, please submit them as ideas, and we'll circle back and kind of have some community discussions around rolling those things in, and seeing if it's something that makes sense to provide with P4, or if it's something that you just want to install on your site. And so, yeah, so in addition to those things, there was some like P4 specific stuff that we have been working on. So one is styling, like I mentioned earlier, making sure that forms built with Gravity Forms look good and match with the P4 design system. So that is all done, I believe. Someone from the team can confirm that for me. I'm pretty sure we finished that ticket. So it's all aligned with the design system. The next thing that we're working on now that we have Molly on our team is getting started with setting up tracking for forms. So tracking form completion, conversions, all of that kind of good stuff. And Gravity Forms actually just a few months ago, I believe, released their Google Analytics add-on. So we might be using that, which is great. They provide something for that. And the last piece of customization that we are currently working on is the ability to show share buttons after someone has taken an action. So right now, out of the box, as far as what to do after someone completes a form, the options are limited to show a little message or redirect them to another page. It's like pretty simple. And so we're adding some additional functionality to show share buttons, since that's the most common action that that people want to do after signing a petition or taking some kind of action. So we'll be adding, this is a little sneak preview mock-up that Magali made, and this link actually goes to some full page designs, which I'll show real quick. So when someone completes the form, it'll show a little message with some share icons, and you'll be able to customize the text, which icons show up, and the URL that gets shared, because it might not be the URL of the page that you're on, depending on how you're user journey is. So those are some things that we know that like Gravity Forms doesn't have out of the box that we want to customize.